Sweet Precure is one of my favorite seasons, and while I've spoken on it before, the truth is it's just so aesthetically pleasing. From the colors to the frills and even the transformations, the prettiest season in the franchise, this is Design Diary Sweet. On first look, Sweet's neat detail is laid before you. The sleek lines keep the designs readable despite the abundant line art. Pink and white complement each other in this unique duo. The rainbow keys are also fitting for multiple reasons. The girls are drawn with much longer limbs, making them look a lot older than the previous season. With strong poses and unique silhouettes, the art of this poster makes a really strong first impression. The season starts us off with a duel, Hibiki and Kanade. Pink lead is up first. Hibiki Hojo is our team lead and has a rather natural hair color. She's into sports, so it makes sense that she wears leggings underneath that miniskirt, as well as the pair of rubber shoes. The messy strands of hair seem like a nightmare to animate, but I like how detailed it is. Her clothing stands out to me because it's mostly black with a pop of magenta. Lastly, I don't think we've had other lead cures with hair this long. It's a very elegant style. Kanade is our second character with muddy brown hair. I don't know why anyone would call this dirty blonde. Anyway, she's wearing all pink, which is a nice way to tie her to Hibiki. Fun fact, if we're just referring to the poster, Hibiki's clothing has all the current cure's colors, pink, white, and black. The simple hair colors and limited clothing palette make the season's design feel a lot more down to earth. Kanade is a lot girlier than Hibiki, so she gets to wear thigh-high socks underneath her dress. It's also entirely pink, which fits. The girls transform as a duo, so we'll discuss them together. The outfits clearly mirror each other with only a few deviations. Now what draws your eye here is the frilly skirt. Hibiki's deep magenta makes a return, while Rhythm uses a light pink to accent her white. The crop top is still visible on Rhythm's design, as it's just covered up with white. Melody's thigh-highs are an interesting choice, with a white stripe for detail. The poofy sleeve on Rhythm does feel a bit more modest, but I might be reaching now. While this has gotten old, I really do like how pink Melody is. She's got two colors on her, no accents or anything. Her wild twin tails exude chaotic brash energy, which I love. Rhythm gets flowing blonde locks that are tied into a pretty little braid. They're great as a duo and their hair shows off their individual personalities. Great designs. Now looking at the betas, the first ones look a lot more like Heartcatch. Despite that, Melody still looks rather aggressive as she attacks with his tambourine. Rhythm is seen off to the side in purple. The dangling skirt fabric is lively, giving me the impression they wanted motion. This would explain why they went with frills in the final design. This second prototype is much closer to the final versions. Hibiki's twin tails are much shorter and messier. It's still a good look, but I guess long hair on both the girls matches better. Now as far as allies go, Hami is our resident mascot and I love her because I love cats. She's also got the Cure colors with pink and white, and her eyes are music notes. There is some blank space on her design, so I'm guessing that's what the pink hearts are there for. The fairy tones are here as well, and I really like how cute they are. Having 8 little babies show up from the start is really something I can't see them doing now. Dodori is the only one with star-shaped pupils, which makes it stand out as Cure Muse's partner, while Fari has shorter arms for some reason. Strange choice. Otokichi also counts as a Cure ally, with one of the best old man designs we've seen. As a young man, he does have powers and is wearing this knight getup. It's a shame there's no official arc for us to judge. Let's play Precure Modulation. These 2 minutes and 4 seconds contain some of the most creative animation the franchise has seen. The dark background is covered with musical scales as the girls float through it with fabric tied to their body. This really helps them stand out color-wise. Rotation is the main draw of this transformation as they use it everywhere. The girls are constantly spinning and the camera spins around them. The frills really get to shine in this environment. and the shots of their hair use smart perspective to make this moment as grand as possible. The fabric does tend to surround them when forming shoes and gloves, so it seems that this was a priority for the key animator. The orchestral music needs no mention, as it's a really great track. The quick pace at the start builds hype before the tune calms down and becomes more graceful. The final backgrounds are a bit crafty for my tastes, but it's certainly unique. Now, the weapons are where this show really shines. See, as a duo, we get a lot of attacks from these two. Let's talk about it. The first attack is Passionate Harmony, and it's pretty enough. They do get a stronger form in the All-Star movies, and that's fine. On to the good stuff. The Beltiers are some of the most dynamic weapons so far. These weapons can be used together, apart, and interchangeably. It's all very smart and dynamic. The music for these attacks is so playful with very fitting sound effects. I love how these allow them to use all the fairy tones. It keeps them from being useless. The girls form a tone ring and the monster just explodes. Explosions are a recurring theme in these attacks. The checkerboard floor with a dark background contrasts to make such a unique environment for the attacks. The girls clap and twirl with their weapons, and the fairy tones look so excited to be used. Rhythm walking away from her explosion is pretty classy. Once they figure out there's 2 holes, which should be obvious, they gain natural upgrades. It's not just a funny moment, but also a clever way to space out the attacks. Melody gets to play handbells and form a really cool, flaming heart. The light rock in the background suits her pretty well too. Rhythm's version has flutes in it, I believe, or at least some kind of wind instrument playing in the background. Either way, a lot of thought was put into these, and it's a shame Rhythm didn't really get to play the harp because Hibiki got to play her handbells, but anyway. Now, we do get a third and final group attack for the duo, which is where they make the crossrods by switching parts. It's so simple but very effective. How many weapons can be used in this many ways? It's a really destructive attack, despite how busy this specific shot looks. Overall, I think these attacks were very creative with the way they used the weapons. I just want to congratulate whoever made the merch for this. I don't know the sales numbers, but if I saw this as a child, I would definitely have wanted all of it. Trio de Minor are our villainous trio, and they've also got their own songstress. We'll get to her later. The trio all look like choir members, though there may be a more specific term for this outfit. Bastrom is up first, and he's the green bad. The chin balls look awful, but I do love the roundness of his design. He's got exaggerated proportions while still being a good design for a fat character. Powered up, he looks very monstrous. The use of skeleton bones in the generals and monsters keeps everything looking scary and menacing, regardless of the design. Baritone is up next, and he's got long flowing hair to match his lanky design. The curls on his face make him look a lot more elegant than the others. When he powers up, he looks like the blue avatar people while gaining bird claws. It's more like an insect, which I guess is a fitting animal theme. Lastly is Falsetto with a very campy power-up. The tight clothing, mask, and dramatic feather cape are very iconic. His dark feathers also match his master's. Noise has one of the coolest villain designs with his black bodysuit and winged claws. The horned helmet looks great, and I'm glad they kept the hair from his bird form. Such an edgy look. Lastly, we have Trio de Major, and they're just 3 skinny dudes who kinda look like a boy band. Their monster forms are very cool, but unfortunately the villains this season don't really have too much variation in their design. Because they kinda wear uniform, it's difficult for me to really find much of interest. Now about that 4th member. Siren's cat design is black to contrast tummies, and she also wears golden jewelry. As a human, she has a black rock outfit with moppy violet hair. I love how it keeps the solitary energy she had, even as a cat villain. You'll notice she has narrower eyes than the other girls, which makes her look somewhat angrier. The golden hair clip features in her human form, and I think it's really iconic. It's a very bright and defining accessory, especially with its contrast to her darker hair. Once she's reformed, she wears purple, which is fine. Still the same fashion style, but her evil outfit in black is much cooler. Pure Beat is the first solo transformation, and the blue background with spiky hair kinda reminds me of Sonic. You guys remember Sonic Cure? I loved that. Anyway, gone are the giant CGI ribbons, replaced with 2D ribbons, and I'm assuming these are easier to animate, wrapping around the body. She still gets the dynamic hair shot as her hair clip soars toward her. As a group, the girls all share a space with multiple shots being combined. The ribbon shot has all 3 of them now, and their earrings actually play the notes as they appear, notably missing T and the second Do. It's something we just don't see nowadays since the 2-1-1 formula has practically been retired. Her attack makes full use of rock and is probably my favorite heart guitar in the franchise. Sorry, Hugtto. Turning the guitar into a staff looks really epic because it genuinely seems like a lethal weapon. She could just swing it around and smack them to do damage. The heart guitar isn't a wholly unique concept, but its blue color and the small wings make great use of its shape. Speaking of guitars, she can also do this. Now, as a Cure, does her design hold up? She's got the same frilly skirt, but the trailing ribbons from the betas have finally found a home. I like the little wings in her hair that hold up her ponytail. The girls all have long hair, so this is the next style to use, I guess. Purple and gold complement each other, so they're natural choices for her hair and eyes. During this time in Sweet Precure, there were 2 popular leaked characters. Despite being fake, they both fit pretty well. The random ribbons feel like a parody of the actual designs, but the hair is very pretty. They got the basic rules down, so I thought I'd bring them up. Cure Beat and Cure Symphony are Cure forms for Seika and Waon. These are 2 side characters with bright colored hair, so you can see why people believed this. Waon is a sporty girl, so her Cure form takes after Hibiki. Seika, on the other hand, is a graceful baker, so she gets an extravagant dress and very pretty hair. Having her become purple would have been an interesting choice, but there will be another interesting choice with regard to color with our 4th member. Now, from the beginning, there's been this one figure on the poster, Cure Muse. She's a mysterious helper with a black mask. Her design is sleek and black with large boots to hide the stilts she's walking on. Pink and white are her accent colors, which really helps keep the first 3 Cures connected color-wise. I love the placement of the heart on her forehead, as it reminds me of Doki Doki. Now, once we discover her identity, it's Shirabe Ako. She's a snarky young girl with short orange hair and glasses. I love how casual and comfy the overall and pink top look. Once again, she's wearing the colors of her team. As Cure Muse, she wears this yellow shawl and a round skirt which is so fun and warm. It's also a very bright childlike color. Her boots actually resemble Doki Doki as well, which does make me wonder if some of the ideas they had with her ended up being expanded upon in the next designs. If you'd like to hear my thoughts about those, check out the video in the card. Her attack Sparkling Shower is pretty cute, as she forms notes with a Cure module. The music in the back reminds me of Sailor Moon Crystal's transformations, especially the singing. It's great that she uses a Cure module because it makes Beat feel like the real 6th Ranger. After all, she was the last one to awaken her powers. Muse has been around from the start, so there's no real need for her to have a new weapon. Her transformation is very fun due to all the excited movement throughout it. Her body is pretty small, so she can jump and twirl around in frame pretty easily. Her body even curls around strings when she says her phrase. Muse's parents are Aphrodite and Mephisto. Aphrodite's a really tall character with a voluminous dress and abundant blonde locks. Mephisto's got a pirate vibe with the wide pants and layers, as well as the bird skull. Once again, the skeletal theme was very smart. The girls' group attack this season is really slow. It's got a great theme and the first part looks amazing, But this bubble part before crescendo tone flies off is just very strange. Because of the weird formation, it's the only one we have, so let's look at the power-ups they get. First up, it's the All-Star power-ups. The rainbow forms are a stark deviation from the series' proper ones, but I am glad they stay in the movies. The skirt is lengthened and it really does look pretty and graceful. The little wings are a lighter palette, and while that is cliche, I think it's nice to see. It especially works with Rhythm's design with her long, graceful hair. The series' proper power-ups are really unique as far as they go. The golden wings unite these four as their colors fade. I really do like the idea and the feathers. It's still far from my favorite, but I love the ambition. Now, as you can probably tell by the length of this video, Sweet Precure didn't have as many designs to go over, given that there weren't really form changes, and the power-up wasn't exactly different for each girl, as in other seasons. Having one group attack and the awkward formation did make this a bit shorter to cover, but I still had a good time, and I look forward to covering more Precure content. It's just that it's the kind of show that you don't really want to touch and go with. I feel like you could cover idol anime like that because it's not as though it's the most serialized plot ever, at least the ones I watch, but Precure is something that I do like to come to after a good amount of time, so I have something more substantial to talk about. With that said, see you guys next time on my next project.